As we stated at the tail end of the last section, we're now going to get into the visual tools that we can use to understand Title 19 of the Code of Federal Regulations by looking at some screenshots from eCFR, the tool we had introduced previously. As we see in our title, we're going to be looking at subparts A and B and then dig a little bit deeper. Let's start at the very top. We're in Title 19, Part 141, in that Electronic Code of Federal Regulations, eCFR. Moving down, to reiterate what was spoken of previously, we have our title, but then the chapter, which is 1, USCBP, Department of Homeland Security, Department of the Treasury. Part 141, Entry of Merchandise. We are looking at subparts A, as we will see here, liability for duties and requirement to enter merchandise, and also subpart B, the right to make entry and declarations on entry. Of course, these are the visuals of the subparts we had spoken of in the previous section. As such, if we have questions or need to research topics like liability of importer for duties in 141.1, we can click there. Time limit for entry, 141.5, we can click there. Subpart B, right to make entry and declarations on entry. And these are subjects we will be talking about in greater detail with our upcoming examples, but things like evidence of right to make entry for importations by common carrier, bond for production of bill of lading or airway bill, disposition of documents, declaration of entry, and down the list goes. Once again, providing some structure and some direction on A, where to find this stuff, and B, how it's set up so we can use it to the best of our ability. What we did here was click on subpart A 141.5, as we'll note in our title, and come to the subject of 141.5, the time limit for entry. This is a good illustration of how to click through and find the subjects that we're looking for, but we also don't select these subjects randomly. They have good information in them too, so we're really killing two birds with one stone. It is important to know, as an importer, that merchandise for which entry is required will be entered within 15 calendar days after landing from a vessel, aircraft, or vehicle, or after arrival at the port of destination, in the case of merchandise transported in bond. Merchandise for which timely entry is not made will be treated in accordance with 4.37 or 122.50 or 123.10 of this chapter, which, if we were to go to those excerpts, would talk about a topic known as general order. When goods aren't entered timely, they are put into GO, as it's called, general order, and not so easy to get goods out of GO. We also selected as a screenshot from eCFR of Title 19, Part 141, Subpart C, which deals with powers of attorney that we dealt with 3, 4, 5 sections ago. Powers of attorney are really important, especially as an importer who's going to use the services of a customs broker, and also for the customs broker in order to act in an agency capacity on behalf of the importer. Subpart C is where all of the information that we need specific to POAs can be found. We'll note general requirements and definitions, the form for power of attorney, which we studied before, but we'll have another look at again, duration of a power of attorney, the revocation of the POA, different POAs, and time limits on a partnership, for example, surety on customs bonds, protests, all very important subjects to us. We know how to find the details. If we were to click on 141.32, Form for Power of Attorney, this is what we would find. That actual format, the template that can be used by importers to issue a power of attorney to a customs broker so that broker can do our entry work for us. As it says here, Customs Form 5291, may be used for giving power of attorney to transact customs business. If a customs power of attorney is not on a customs form 5291, it shall be either a general power of attorney with unlimited authority or a limited power of attorney as explicit in its terms and executed in the same manner as a customs form 5291. Really what they're saying there, if we as an importer are issuing a POA to a customs broker and not using form 5291, that power of attorney has to say explicitly that it's a customs power of attorney. We studied POAs previously and actually form 5291, so we won't go into that part. Once again, our purpose is to illustrate the structure of Title 19, Part 141 and its subparts, and where to find this stuff. This is a good illustration of that. Another example we took from Title 19, Part 141 is Subpart E, the presentation of entry papers, meaning entry summary, the information off of commercial docks, like the commercial invoice, packing list, the transport dock, the bill of lading, and how it gets into the electronic filing tool that self-filers or customs brokers use to submit through ACE. Couple of details here. 141.61, completion of entry and entry summary documentation. The place and time of filing. Information on the submission of entry summary documentation for preliminary review. That's in 141.63. If we have to make any corrections to entry summary documentation, that's in 141.64. And down the list we can go. Just another good example of how to use eCFR at the subpart level. In this example, we're still in subpart E. We clicked on 141.64, which deals with, as we see, review and correction of entry and entry summary documentation. Let's learn a little bit about that while we're here. Entry and entry summary documentation may be reviewed before acceptance to ensure that all entry and statistical requirements are complied with and that the indicated values and rates of duty appear to be correct. This is good stuff. If any errors are found, the entry and the entry summary documentation shall not be considered to have been filed in proper form and shall be returned to the importer for correction. Everybody makes mistakes. This excerpt, Subpart E, 141.64, tells us how we can deal with that. That will conclude this section. When we get back, we're going to change gears pretty dramatically and get into an introduction to the Harmonized Tariff Schedule of the United States, the HTS-US. Really, really interesting stuff. Please do come back quickly.